happy Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Live, and I'm here with one of my favorite people, Miss Rachel McNary from Intuit. All right, we have another incredible night of chatting with Intuit, the makers of TurboTax, QuickBooks, and Mint. They also own Credit Karma and MailChimp. Since 2019, milspouses, since 2019, we have been partnered with Intuit, and they have shown since 2019 that they are milspouse centric. Just this year alone, we've helped over 30 military spouses get #hired at Intuit in their remote careers. They offer incredible salary benefits, super flexible schedules, and even seasonal work. Tonight, we are introducing you to two new recruiters, a military spouse in bookkeeping, and a tax expert veteran, all working for Intuit. Right now, Intuit is actively recruiting for non-credentialed tax associates for the next tax season. Let's get that link on screen right now for the non-credentialed tax associates. And they're recruiting for credentialed tax experts. So that's going to be your CPAs, your enrolled agents, your practicing attorneys. Yes, if that is you, Intuit wants to hire you. Let's go ahead and bring that link on screen as well. And finally, they're actually interviewing right now for bookkeepers. So I want to get the bookkeeper link on screen right now as well. Okay, icebreaker tonight to get you warmed up, to get you moving. Say hello. Tell us what state you are watching from. I am watching from Jacksonville, Florida. Tell us where you're watching from. And then I want to see your life hacks. All right, this whole life hack trend is going crazy right now, and I need you to drop a life hack for me that you think I need to know about. And tonight, we're going to give you life hacks to get hired at Intuit. So drop those in the chat. Also, let me share with you that if you would like for us to see your identity on the live stream, all you have to do is approve Restream to be able to see your identity. All right, let's go ahead and get that link on screen too. So you'll just go to chat.restream.io, and right there, you'll be able to approve Restream to see who you are so you can talk to us tonight as we're going live with Intuit and having a really good time talking about their new programs. Okay, so last thing that you need to know before we get started and jump into these conversations tonight is that this conversation is like a high-level overview with two recruiters, a military spouse and a veteran who all work for Intuit, right? And then Thursday, we are all going to get into a Zoom together. And in that Zoom, we are going to meet face-to-face with the recruiters and let you ask the recruiters anything that you want to ask them. All right. Let's go ahead and pull some of these chats on screen. I'm seeing lots of viewers coming in from all kinds of different states. What you're seeing on screen right now is the RSVP link to our Coffee and Connect. So the Coffee and Connect that we do, the first 100 attendees who join us get a free Starbucks gift card. We send you $5 to Starbucks. You can put a big heart in the chat right now if you've been to one of these Coffee and Connects before and you've gotten a Starbucks from us and you're coming back. We're going to be going live and going in detail, in depth with our recruiters in that call, and you'll be able to ask anything you want to about the hiring process and get a leg up in the hiring process there. Okay, so let's see here. Michelle, can you please run some on-screen chats? I'd like to see on screen where everybody is messaging in from and what tuning in from. Let's go ahead and chat with Rachel. Rachel, it is so good to have you back.
Oh, thank you. I have to say a shout out to Matthew because he said hi to me from Texas, and I'm in San Antonio, Texas. So, and you have somebody from Italy and Bangladesh. Kimber,
I
you are
know.
awesome.
We're everywhere. So while we're doing this, I want to go ahead and briefly introduce our other three guests, and then you and I can dive into our conversation. Does that sound good?
That sounds awesome.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with Rachel here. She is a Navy veteran. She's married to a disabled Navy veteran. She has a similar experience to many of you who are out there. If you went and you got a master's degree or higher education, but with that degree found that you are now overqualified to work, right? So
Mhm.
Rachel started her own bookkeeping practice, and with the training and support that she got from Intuit, she is excelling as a tax expert. Next, I would like to introduce James. Hey, James. Hello, hello. I think you might be
Hello.
on mute. There you are. All right. What I love about James is that he is a veteran. He is a former Army officer within the Field Artillery Corps. He's responsible or was responsible for the combat readiness of units with up to 200 soldiers. And this is his second year working to get more veterans and military spouses. Hashtag hired. He's a recruiter for TurboTax Live. James, thank you for your service and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, we're now going to introduce Tessa. Hi, Tessa.
Hi.
Hey. All right, Tessa is an active duty Navy spouse. She is currently stationed in sunny San Diego, California, and this is her first year as a recruiter for QuickBooks Live. And finally, we are going to be joined tonight also by Zohra. Hey, Zohra.
Hi.
She is an active duty Air Force spouse. She PCS'd from her home in South Korea to the US last year. Super interesting story. She's a recent MBA graduate. She also did one of the Intuit courses, which we're going to talk about tonight. She became a QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor. She's certified in that department. And she, like Rachel, had difficulty finding work because of a lack of work experience until she discovered Intuit and VertForce. Now she's working at home in Texas as an associate bookkeeper while she adjusts to life in America, including learning how to drive, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, I hear you. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and kick some of you off screen while we chat with Rachel, and then we'll bring Zohra back on screen, and then we'll talk to our recruiters. So excited to have all of you with me tonight. Rachel, so what's cool about your experience is that you opened your own practice and you're a tax expert now, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Did you ever see yourself doing that?
Never.
Is this a part of the game plan?
Not at all. Not at all. I actually, now that I look back, I'm like, what did I see myself doing? I can't even remember. But no, I honestly, I had the GI Bill. I needed to do something, and an oceanography degree wasn't going to kick it. So, when you're 18, you're thinking about majors, not the smartest sometimes. So I got the master's in accounting. I loved math.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated, it was just one of those things. Remember, it was just crickets, nothing. I couldn't get any kind of job. First of all, I couldn't even get interviews. But then looking at Indeed was just depressing because nothing spoke to me, first of all, or
Yeah.
would match the needs that I had as a mom, a military
Mhm.
spouse, a reservist, and a mom of 5 kids.
Right.
So it just wasn't going to work. Yeah.
I love that you have 5 kids. I'm such a supporter of big families. I'm the baby of 6. And
Oh,
nobody
that's
does that
awesome.
anymore, and I just love to see big families.
That's because they're not crazy like I am. No, it's fun. It's fun.
Okay, but a tax expert, that's a
Yes,
pretty big leap from an oceanography degree, right?
huge. Mhm.
It's a pretty big step. So, what took you there?
Well, again, kind of by accident. I just knew that I liked math. I liked the accounting, but then again, then it was, okay, what do I like doing? I love serving, obviously, being in the military and having so many kids. And then just couldn't figure out where I was going to go. Ended up applying to Intuit after struggling to find the experience that I needed. Now we have Intuit Academy, so people can just jump in and get educated and get the experience they need while they wait. But for me, I had to volunteer at Vita. I worked with another CPA. And then I started my own practice, scary, doing tax returns
Wow.
with nobody under me, no net, no training. It was a little bit scary, and I did limit my practice tremendously. But being able to be at Intuit, I've been here this is my third season, going into my third season, and it has been phenomenal, the training. And honestly, Kimber, the peace, like I'm in my own office, like it's a wreck. That's why you don't see it. But I'm home. My kids can knock on my door. There's no stress. I work for probably the best company in the world. Like I cannot tell you enough how amazing they are. If I need to leave for a dentist appointment, talk to my manager, and my manager is like, "Okay, great." It's amazing. I love it here.
I think all of that is there's so much there to unpack. First of all, that we need to dive into the VITA experience here. And because the big gap for our listeners and our viewers is they're probably sitting here wondering, okay, what exactly is a tax expert? What kind of experience do I need? So your journey to getting where you are, tell us exactly what it means to be a tax expert at Intuit, and then tell us how you gained the experience to get there.
Okay. So a tax expert here at Intuit, where I'm at now, what it means is you understand tax code, right? We're not going to know 80,000 pages of tax code, but we're going to be a learner. So if you're passionate about learning things, if you're passionate about serving and helping people, then that's right there. That's all you need. The knowledge will come with, the training if you're at Intuit Academy, or even if you're like me, where you decided, okay, well, let's look at my local community. Where can I serve? And it's volunteer income tax assistance is where I started. So
Mhm.
I've been there 6 years now, just helping people, low income people, do their taxes. Um, helping your peers do their taxes. If you have, your family, that's kind of the other place I started, was doing my own family's returns. And then, swim team. I met a mom that was a CPA, and I just asked her, I'm like, hey, can I just watch you do returns? I just graduated. I'm working on my enrolled agent certification exams. And that's how it started. Just talk to people. That was my experience. I think now with Intuit Academy, it's definitely a little bit easier to come in and get that experience and knowledge.
Yeah. Michelle, can you bring the Intuit Academy link on screen? What do you think about Intuit Academy, Rachel?
I think it's amazing. I haven't been able to, like, I'm not looking at it to pass the exams, but if it's like anything else that we've done, we do it well. So you're going
Yeah,
to get to be able to see what it is that you would be doing on a daily basis. You get to have the basic knowledge that you'll need to start, and it's in levels. So you can start slow, learn, and you're going to also be able to see, like, is this the kind of company I can work with? Like,
mhm,
look at how awesome the training is, because that's what I get to experience all the time. And it's great because something that's very interesting is, people that have been in a lot of different positions where, with military, you have to keep moving. If the training isn't good, if your supervisors are terrible, you're not happy. And if we're supporting spouses that are serving actively in the military, there needs to be peace in the home, right? We need to be doing something we enjoy.
yeah.
And uh, I don't know, I can't say it enough. This is the perfect place, and it's definitely very supportive.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So we'd had a really long conversation about this. So we're going to talk to James soon, and James is going to tell us about the requirements to get the job that Rachel has, and the journey there. But Rachel and I had about an hour-long conversation about a year ago, maybe longer than a year ago. And we talked about exactly how to get 1 year of tax prep experience. Because even going through Intuit Academy, you're still going to need 1 year of tax prep experience. So right now on screen is the link. Let's see, here it is. Right here is the link to our conversation about how you can grab 1 year of tax experience. It's way easier than you think. And just if you start now, if you're at 0 now and you start now, by this time, 2023, you will be ready to move into a tax prep career with Intuit, which is so cool to think about. So, last thing, Rachel, you're Navy, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're Team Navy, can we get a blue heart or a go Navy in the chat, please? Thank you so much for chatting with me today, and
Thanks for having me.
congratulations. Congratulations on the career progression um, at
Thank
Intuit. We're just
you.
really proud of you and love to follow your story. And I can't wait to have you back on again.
Thanks, Kimber.
Seeing lots of Go Navies already. So some of those are coming on screen.
Love it.
Zohra, I would love to bring you on now to join our conversation here. And I will bring you back on later, Rachel. Thank you. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing okay. Thank you.
I would love to hear more about your background. How did you discover VertForce and Intuit?
So, I'm an active duty Air Force spouse, and I was living in South Korea last year. I was doing my master's degree, and I graduated from my master's degree, MBA finance, and we PCS with my husband to US, and it was my first time in US, and it was really hard for me at first. Before coming to US, I was thinking, oh, I have a master's degree in business administration, finance, and I had some courses in accounting. And I have like the practical, not the practical, actually the theory and knowledge
Yep.
behind accounting, and I'm going to get a job as fast as possible.
Right.
But
Yeah, you would think. You would think so.
yes, but oh God, I was wrong. And I
Oh,
came here, I was applying from the first day to any accounting job entry level. The,
yeah.
the first problem that I had was I didn't know how to drive because my whole life I've been living in countries that I didn't need to drive.
Right.
So I couldn't get anywhere. The public transportation in San Antonio, Texas is not that good. You won't get anywhere within less than 2 hours.
Mhm.
And besides that, I didn't have any experience in accounting and bookkeeping area that I wanted to have start my career in. And most of the even entry level jobs require 2, 3, or 5 years of experience doing some bookkeeping or accounting. So I was so frustrated. I couldn't get any job within, I think it was 8 or 9 months
Oh
after
my
my
goodness.
arrival to the
Zohra, that is
US.
so long and frustrating.
Yes, and I was just looking at other jobs. My dream was bookkeeping and accounting because I
Right.
studied for that and I have a passion for accounting.
Yeah.
But I was so frustrated and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do some interpreting, translation. But I couldn't even get those jobs. Or I got one, but I was not happy because I that was not my passion. So my husband was actually helping me. He was reaching to his friends saying that my wife has this problem. If your wife has like kind of experience coming to US and finding job, let me know. And one of the spouses actually reached to me, my husband's friend's wife, and she introduced me workforce, and she invited me to this group, and I talked about accounting. She told me that there is an accounting job actually with Intuit, and she
Yes.
sent me the link. I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, this is heaven. No experience. I can get my experience with the Coursera, and I
Yeah.
love it. So um, I went to the and I just applied before doing the Coursera account. I
Mhm.
applied first because I remember in one of the live sessions, Blair said that you can even apply to the with that link before starting Coursera account. So
Right.
I did that, but I forgot something, and
Oh,
I
what did you forget?
so so my passion is accounting, and we accountants are so honest about everything, and we are
Okay.
accountable. So there was an option over there saying that how many years of experience do you have in bookkeeping field. I was
Right.
like, oh, I haven't started Coursera accounts yet, so I have
Right.
0. After that, I'm going to change it to 1 year after I finish my Coursera certification. So I finished my Coursera certification, QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor, and I was waiting for probably a month or so, and I didn't hear anything back. And I saw other comments from other spouses that were saying that they just got the interview super fast, and I was like, there's a problem. And I went to correct that application into change that 0 experience to 1 year experience, and
Okay, okay.
it didn't allow me, and I couldn't fill another application, and I was like,
Okay.
what should I do now? So
So what did you do?
I reached out to Blair actually in LinkedIn, and
Okay.
he messaged super fast,
Yeah.
and he got me an interview, and the process was fast after that.
I love that. Okay, so let me break this down. If you complete the Coursera course for the bookkeeping role, it erases the real world experience in bookkeeping that's required to qualify for the position. It's not a guaranteed you're going to get hired, but it is a guaranteed we will waive the work experience from the real world if you take this 80-hour course series and take the ProAdvisor certification, pass both, and then apply. So what Zohra is saying right now is that she did not check the box that says, I have the experience. So here is your hack for applying for Intuit. If you pass that course and you pass the ProAdvisor, which we're going to give you a cool little roadmap visual to aid in that process, when you go to the application page, make sure you select that you do have the required work experience to apply for the position. Right, Zohra?
Yes, definitely do that.
Yes. So have you passed your driver's test yet, or have you decided not to do that?
I'm still learning.
You're still learning?
Yes, it's gonna take some time, and I'm so happy that I'm working from home because I'm not rushing with learning that.
I don't blame you. Traffic is so stressful. Let's see here. I do want to tell you more about getting those work experience years canceled. So let me drop the link for you now to episode 105. You guys, we broke the internet with this podcast episode. We met with Intuit. We introduced and released this program for erasing years of work experience required to qualify. And so, right now, in the captions, we're going to have our producer drop the link to episode 105. And that is one you can listen to that describes what the program is, how to apply for it. And then what I want to follow up with right after that is the link to the 80-hour course series. So after you listen to this episode, you can go straight into that 80-hour course series, start training. And again, we are going to bring up the recruiter for QuickBooks in just a couple of minutes, and she's going to talk to us about the 80-hour course series, and also about a day in the life as a QuickBooks bookkeeper. Zohra, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that we get to have you back, and I look forward to following your career progression at Intuit.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to go ahead and bring James on. Hi, James.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing so good, and even better now that we've got you on tonight. You are our new TurboTax recruiter, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. James, tell me a little bit about your role at Intuit.
Okay, I'm starting my second year as being a recruiter. I recruit for TurboTax Live, and right now we're actively recruiting for the tax prep assistant, the tax associate, and the tax expert. So my job is primarily do the initial vetting of candidates, people who apply for jobs, and then hopefully prepare them to move to the next stage in the hiring process.
So two things that I'm hearing there, and some of it is subtext for me because you and I have got to talk a couple of times before tonight's interview. That's a ladder of positions. Those are 3 positions, and they kind of they sit on a ladder of of experience and qualifications in the tax department, right?
Primarily, correct.
Yeah.
Yep. What you have, the tax prep assistant is in the past has been an opportunity for people who don't have any actual paid tax prep experience. And then the tax associate and tax expert, I guess you can look at those as one entry level, and then the tax expert is the next level, because you have to be credentialed to be a tax expert, meaning CPA, enrolled agent, or practicing attorney's license.
Okay. Are there educational pathways attached to those opportunities?
I think, and right now we have a program when you can go through the Intuit Academy and take advantage of the tax level 1 course. There's 2 courses: tax level 1, tax level 2. And if you take the tax level 1 course, which is a 30-hour online course, and then an hour and a half to 2-hour exam afterwards, then that will help. Doesn't promise you the job, but it helps get you to the next phase of the hiring process.
Awesome. So what are the requirements for that position outside of passing that course?
If you don't pass, well, after you pass the course, you need to have at least 1 year of paid experience,
Mm-hmm.
and then the better you do on the tax level 1 course, the better off you'll be. Then the next step is to go on to we have an online virtual interview where it's a recorded interview where you'll be vetted again of your tax knowledge, but you'll go through an interview process that managers will review. It's you'll have behavioral type questions that you'll be asked, and then that's part of the interview process along with the vetting of your tax knowledge. And
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. So if you are interested in tax, this is just like when we were talking to Rachel about 10 minutes ago. If you're interested in tax, you need to come to the table with 1 year of paid experience and having completed the tax level 1 course, and the URL is on screen right now. Or you can come with a higher level credential like an EA or a CPA without having taken the course. Is that correct?
That's correct. And both positions without the course require 3 years of paid tax experience, preparing at least 30 returns per tax season.
Yes. And the course that Intuit Academy offers will waive 2 years of that tax prep experience. So you only have to bring 1 year to the table and the completion of the course. And on screen, we are alternating between 2 links: Intuit Academy, where you can go start the course. You start the course. Once you pass it, you just have to acquire 1 year of tax prep experience, and then you can apply to be a tax associate at Intuit. Or if you have 3 years of tax prep experience already, you can go ahead and apply to be a tax associate at Intuit. If you have your CPA or if you have your enrolled agent license, you can go ahead and apply to be a tax expert at Intuit. So this link here on screen, bit.ly/start tax, this is like a guide, a roadmap that our team built to help you understand where do you start. And it's going to show you the starting points and where you need to end up, depending on where you're coming from. Now, James, you are an Army veteran. You've been working to get veterans and military spouses employed at Intuit for 2 years. So it's safe to say that you're an advocate in this space, and we appreciate that. What I wanted you to talk to us about next is a military spouse or a veteran starts at Intuit as a tax associate. You know, they did the work, they put in the time, they put in the education to become a tax associate, but they're here because they're focused on career progression. What is the coolest thing about Intuit as it relates to career progression for people in the tax space? And I'm talking about that really valuable federal credential that Intuit supports.
I mean, the opportunities are vast. You know, if you get on with Intuit, especially as a tax associate, because there are intermediate positions from tax associate to senior tax associate to tax expert to senior tax expert. Um, so, and a lot of that is based on your performance, like any job. So the opportunities for progression is vast, and not only with TurboTax Live, but you're in the family. You have access to the family of companies underneath the Intuit umbrella that you can have access to as well.
Yeah, and you have that incredible enrolled agent program.
That's correct. That's correct. If you're a tax associate, then you'll get an invitation to participate in what's called the Enrolled Agent Assistance Program, where Intuit will pay for your enrolled agent class. There'll probably be an online class, pay for your training materials, your testing, and then provide you a mentor to help you help prepare you for the test. And once you take the exam and pass it, then that'll qualify you then to be moved into the tax expert role.
Yeah, and I just want to say, you guys, I wish I had a flashing graphic that just said big brain energy, big brain energy. If you were talking about a remote career in finance, you know that issue we have as military spouses, obtaining a license to do something in one state, and then when we move to another state, we can't do that thing anymore without getting relicensed. The beautiful thing about the enrolled agent license is that it is a federal credential. It is federal. So you move from Washington to California to New York to Alabama to Florida, you will be able to continue to be a practicing enrolled agent. And why else is this just gigantic brain energy? Because you can come into Intuit with 1 year of tax prep experience, having completed a 30-hour course. You can then sign up for their enrolled agent program. Where they will pay for you to become an enrolled agent to study and test, which, you guys, that's about a $2,000 to $2,500 investment in you. They will support you and give you community to get you there. And then, voila, you're in one of the most lucrative remote careers that you can have that's going to PCS with you from state to state to state. Working with a really incredible, respectable company and with amazing benefits and amazing team members like James. It's just a no-brainer, right, James?
Correct. And Kimber, just to let your audience know, depending on what state you live in, there are 6 states out there that have special requirements that you have to meet within your state before you can work for us. So like California, Maryland, New York State, I believe Oregon State. I'll pull the list up and remind everybody about them. But you need to make sure not only do you meet the educational requirements and the experience to work with us, but you have to check your state and make sure you meet their requirements as well.
Thank you for clarifying that. And I think that that's really relevant. We should bring more information to the table on that, if it's going to be based on where you work or where you're PCSing to, where you're temporarily located. It's a very interesting topic. James, what attracted you to work at Intuit?
Well, one, they say there's two certainties in life, death and taxes. And I thought working for Intuit and TurboTax Live was an excellent opportunity. And I'll be honest with you, it was the remote opportunity that really interested me. And I'll be honest with you, I love working for this company.
I love that. Thank you. That's so authentic. I appreciate you sharing that. And then last question for you, James, is what is your hack or your biggest piece of advice for a military spouse or veteran candidate coming through VertForce and applying it into it? What's the number one tip you would give them?
I will give you 2. The number 1 tip I would say right now is, now that we have the Intuit Academy, if you're interested in working with TurboTax Live, take that TL1, tax level 1 course. And the other thing is, make sure your resume, no matter how old you think your experience is if it's tax related, make sure that you quantify it and make sure it's on your resume, and just have a special resume just for TurboTax Live.
I like that. So I appreciate that you brought up resumes. If you are interested in learning more about VertForce's techniques for tailoring a resume, you can check out our free course, Resume Bootcamp. That's on screen right now. That's under our online curriculum, Rocket Remote, and the Resume Bootcamp course is there. About midway through that course, you will see our tips on tailoring your resume for a specific job or a specific industry. James, I can't wait to have you back. So we'll talk again on Thursday in our Coffee and Connect. And before we move to the next guest, I want to remind everyone that your opportunity to meet with James and our next recruiter, Tessa, face to face and ask them any questions that you want about what it's like to work there, what the interview process is like, how to get a leg up to get hired. You can come to this event. It's at 2:00, I believe, Thursday afternoon. You can just RSVP here at this link. And Intuit is buying you a cup of coffee for coming. So the first 100 attendees get a free cup of coffee. All right, let's go ahead and bring Tessa on screen. James, thank you so much. We'll see you Thursday.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Kimber. I'm well. How are you? Hi, everyone
Good.
watching.
Doing very well. Tessa is our QuickBooks Live recruiter. Tessa, tell us about what you do for Intuit and what drew you to work for this company.
Sure. So, I am a recruiter for QuickBooks Live. I've been with Intuit a little over a year. I started in August 2021. As a military spouse myself, I can attest to the difficulties the community can sometimes find in remote work. I'm active duty Navy spouse. I'm originally from Mississippi. I saw someone who's watching is from Petal, Mississippi. Hey, I actually
Shout out
went
Mississippi.
right. I went to school at USM. I graduated from USM, which is right near Petal. So, we were living in Houston, Texas, and then we recently PCSed to San Diego. My background is in retail management. I had always, done that, and I had my eye on, HR roles for a while. What drew me to the role was obviously that it was remote, and I mean, in recruiting and HR, they go hand in hand, and I always loved people management in my management, career. So I thought it would be great. And so far, I've loved it. Whenever we moved from Houston to San Diego, I just took a few days off and then opened my laptop and was able to start back. So that was awesome. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you
Okay.
absolutely did. I
Okay.
love that you're from the South. I'm from the South too. Also an active duty Navy spouse. I want to give everyone watching the opportunity to drop their branch pride in the chat. So if you are Navy, drop Navy. If you are Army, drop Army. Drop Air Force. Like, let's see where you're associated, and you can tell us if you're a veteran or a spouse. We want to hear from you. And we can pull those up on screen just to see how many. I'm an active duty Navy spouse too. I've got so many friends in the Navy out in San Diego. And I think you hit something very important on the head here, which is when you PCSed, you took like 3 days off and then flipped your laptop open and kept working.
That's right. Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
easy.
It's the dream, right?
It
It's
is.
the dream. You had that career continuity as you changed states, and there was nothing there inhibiting you from getting qualified to work in that state again, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Awesome. One moment here. Can you still hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. I almost lost audio. Sorry about that. So tell me about the roles that you're recruiting for at Intuit.
So with QuickBooks Live, we are recruiting for bookkeepers. There are different teams within the bookkeeper role. It's all the same interview. It's all the same application process. And you're just placed on, which team is the best fit based off your interview.
Right.
So we are actively interviewing now. it's looking like we won't have start dates until maybe December or January, but
Okay.
that does give time for, working on certification and all of that. And then, sometimes other teams will pop up with openings for the QuickBooks Live role. So, but the main role that we're kind of always hiring for is bookkeepers, live bookkeepers.
And what does a day in the life of a live bookkeeper at Intuit look like?
So you'd be part of a team. Um, like I said before, we have a few different teams. So we have a month-to-month bookkeeping role, and then we have a cleanups role. So the cleanups teams, they, are dealing with customers who have like a 30-day subscription, and they do as much cleanup as they possibly can in 30 days. So that's a little bit of a faster pace, less customers. Our month-to-month bookkeeping role, you would have the same clients each month, and it's more of a typical bookkeeping role, where you have a manager who delegates customers to you, and you can have anywhere from 10 to 25, kind of depending on the complexity of the books and workload.
I like that. All right. So if someone is sitting here watching our screen tonight and says, I definitely want to get into this, what's your advice for helping them start the application process and evaluate when is the right time to apply?
Right. So I don't know that there is a right or wrong time to apply. We typically interview a few months out from any given start date. I say, when you first apply, the first step is going to be that a recruiter will reach out to you, and if you don't meet the qualifications, they can guide you. We can guide you where to go from there.
Mhm.
We do require 3 years of bookkeeping experience, but if you do go through the Coursera course and get that certification that's been posted, that takes place of the 3 years of required experience.
I
So I would
gotcha.
say, right, if you don't have bookkeeping experience, that may be where you would start. But either way, if
Mhm.
you apply and you speak to a recruiter, they can kind of guide you on where to go. I do think one of the questions asked is how many years of experience um, in bookkeeping do you have? I would say, or maybe it asked, do you have bookkeeping experience? As was mentioned before, if you have done the Coursera course and you do have that certification, say yes to the experience so that you can
Right.
get through to a recruiter
Right.
and go from there.
Thank you
We
for
also, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
We also require a QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor certification
Mhm.
of all
Mhm.
bookkeepers require, regardless of experience, which is free. It takes about 10 hours. And I don't know if we have a link for that, but uh, we can send an email on kind of where to go for that as well when you speak to a recruiter.
Okay. Um So we have a link on screen right now. Michelle, is that the right link that says how to get an EA license and ProAdvisor certified? Do we have both of those on the same link? Because that doesn't seem. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. I've got my producer in the background telling me that this is actually a link for a podcast episode that we did. I don't see the number of the episode, so I think that's what's throwing me there. Um, so we did do a podcast episode on how to get certified, and that's what Michelle had just brought up on screen. It looks like that's already changed to something else. Where do I start? QuickBooks Live. So this is yes, Rachel. This is the landing page that one of our team members built. So if you're sitting there thinking, all right, this is all just like a little complicated, I don't know where to start, click on this landing page, bit.ly/start bookkeeping. And this is going to help you evaluate where you are and where you need to go. But actually, the bookkeeping role is the most simple entry point to qualifying to work for Intuit, right? Because it just requires an 80-hour course. And then on top of that, it requires like a 4 to 10-hour ProAdvisor certification. Most of the candidates that we hear going through this program say it doesn't take me near that long to actually complete it. So those are the most pessimistic time frames that we can give you to say it at the longest it's going to take you 80 hours, at the longest it's going to take you 10 or 12 hours to get through the other one. So the ProAdvisor certification is just a certification. The 80-hour course series is bookkeeping education. It's like a curriculum that teaches you how to be a bookkeeper. Let me ask you, Tessa, do you have a recommendation of which you should do first?
Right. Not really. I mean, um, if you have no bookkeeping experience and you're just getting started and you are doing both, it would probably start with the Coursera 80-hour Coursera course. That's what I would say as far as which step would come first in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me bring Zohra on. She just dropped a comment. She had some feedback on this. Zohra, since you've done both of these, do you want to give us some feedback about which you would recommend doing first?
Yes, of course. When I did the Coursera account, although I had the accounting education prior from my university days, the Coursera course is really good. The foundation of bookkeeping. It teaches you all the things about bookkeeping, the primary basic knowledge that you need to know. Even though I found some information that I thought I know, but I didn't know. And it gave me really good foundation in order to start the QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor and understand that QBO ProAdvisor certification better. So I think it's better to go with Coursera and then second, go with the QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor certification.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Zohra. All right. And Tessa, I believe that covers everything I wanted to ask you about this role. Is there anything that I'm missing that you want to make sure the candidates get to hear this evening?
I would just say, similar to, kind of echoing what James said as far as your resume, always ensure that your resume has keywords. So if it's a tax role, any tax experience, whether it's been volunteer or paid, should be on there. Same for bookkeeping. You would be surprised how many people. I think what happens is they don't update their resumes and they send in old resumes. But you'd be surprised how many people apply and they do have bookkeeping experience, but it's not reflected on their resume. And it's really important for that to be there. And then as far as interviewing, our interview process, the Hire View, has a video portion on it. So I would say, getting a few steps ahead of ourselves here. But once you get to that part, I would say practice recording yourself a few times before you get into that interview, because it shocks people when they see their own face and then they can't think about, kind of, wait, what was I saying, kind of thing. So those are my two probably tips for, applying with QuickBooks Live.
Thank you for that, Tessa. So what I think could be fun now is if we take the overlay off the screen, Michelle, we bring all of our guests on. We have everyone remind us of what their hacks were for getting #hired at Intuit. And then we take questions from the chat and get any of these questions that are coming in from our candidates answered. Does that sound good to everybody? I'm getting like lots of thumbs up. So let's get our guests back on. And if anyone has to leave, that's okay. All right. So our two recruiters are down here on the bottom, and our two team members are up here on the top with me. Let's go ahead and we'll just go from bottom to top. James, remind us of your tips, your hack to get #hired at Intuit.
I say the primary one is take the Intuit Academy course, Tax Level 1, pass it with as high as a score as you can, and make sure your resume is as complete as possible. Even if you have to make a resume and have a version 2 that's just for TurboTax Live, we want to see all the tax experience you have, regardless of how old it is.
Let me chime in on that, and you'll learn this in Resume Bootcamp, which is the free course that me and my team at VertForce built for you. Your resume, when he says full and complete and he wants to see a TurboTax resume, that means at the very first page should only contain relevant related experience to TurboTax. It does not have to be in chronological order. It needs to be in functional order there so they can see your experience. You can include other stuff on the subsequent pages, but that's the winner to getting the recruiter to say, oh yeah, let me give this person a call, right?
Correct.
Awesome. All right. And then we'll flip. I know we just spoke with you, Tessa, but one more time, let's hear your hacks for getting #hired at Intuit.
Sure, same. So resume, keywords, and then I would say practice interviewing before you get into your interview.
Thank you so much, Tessa. Let me say this, candidates, if you've got questions, start putting them in the chat because we're going to do Q&A very shortly. And we have a whole episode about getting keywords into your resume. We have a whole lesson about that in RBC. And we have a whole course. A whole course. Let me say it again. A whole course on acing your virtual interview. Okay. And it's quick. It's only 30 minutes. A lot of our remote employers are going to have you record yourself and show up on video for your interviews. So it is imperative to get comfortable on camera. It is not a beauty pageant. It is a competency test. So we've got a course on that.
I went through those courses. Shout out to those courses.
Yeah, very easy to go through. Zohra, we'll go up to you. What are your hacks for getting #hired at Intuit?
I have 2 hacks. First, check that 1-year experience box off so you won't get behind like me. And second, reach to recruiters. They're so friendly, they're happy to help, and they are super fast to answer your questions. If you can't get to a recruiter, just go with Workforce and they will try to help you.
Remember to check the box if you complete the course. And we can help you get in touch with Tessa and James. So if you need help and you need to get to them directly, we will liaise you over to them. Thank you, Michelle. You're so clutch. You brought our How to Ace Your Virtual Interview course on screen. This thing, it's 30 minutes long. It's designed for you to say, oh my gosh, my interview is in an hour and I'm really nervous. Then you go into the course. You know, it'll prep you in 30 minutes. All right, Rachel, your #hired hacks for Intuit?
My first one is definitely serve. Continue to serve. So go find your local volunteer income tax assistant office. They will train you. You will get great experience and you'll know right away if this is something you want to do. And then the other is just, have energy. Be excited about what you're about to do, which is help millions of taxpayers that are stressed out, don't know what they're doing, and they just need a little bit of hand holding or need help with their QuickBooks Live. And, it's a great job. You're going to love it. Try.
Thank you, Rachel. Michelle, would you like to start bringing some of the questions on screen? Thank you. Are there more options for retirees to get hired at QBO? This comes from Darlene. She's interested in knowing what the work schedule is like, if she can tailor it to her lifestyle.
That's a great question, Darlene. We do require a minimum of 20 hours a week. So you can work up to 40, but the minimum required is 20 hours. Our operating hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So you
Thank
can,
you.
yeah, so you can sort of tailor it to your schedule, but we do require at least 20. You do have a set schedule, so it does work to where you can build, your other schedules around it. So you'd have the same schedule each week.
I hear you. Thank you. So, Darlene, that sounds like positive news for you. This could be a good fit. Marion, I see that you're having trouble clicking the links. If you will please email hire@vertforce.us, we will get all the links to you. Our next question comes from KM Benda on YouTube. They would like to know if Intuit offers part-time positions, which a little similar to our last question, but this should Let's get this clarified.
Well, I can tell you as far as TurboTax Live goes, just like QuickBooks, it's a minimum of 20 hours a week. So that would be considered part-time. But again, and it's also on a first come, first served basis. So as you're onboarding, everything you're being asked to do, you'll want to make sure you do it post haste, because the first person that gets all their activities completed and move to higher status, then you have the option to go out and select the dates and times that work best for you.
So let me ask the alternative to that question. And you listeners, we are about to wrap up. So if you have any additional questions for Intuit, get them in the chat now. What about full-time?
TurboTax Live does have, we have something called Select Time, where there are positions out there where you can apply for Select Time, which are year round. Is that correct, Rachel? And I'll let Rachel talk on that. But during the tax season, it's seasonal. You can work up to 40 hours a week if you.
Uh-oh.
I think James froze. Rachel, if you have, or Tessa, if you have the information there.
So as a Select Time employee, that happened my first season. And honestly, it was because I didn't know anything. I mean, I'm going to be very honest. There was a lot of learning that I had to do that first season, but I was really passionate about what I was doing, and I went above and beyond. And I think that caught the attention of my manager and her manager, and they put me forward for Select Time. So I get to stay there all year. Like Darlene was asking, I know that the minimum is 20 hours, but there are times when it gets slow. So if you're awesome and you're doing a great job, it's flexible. You can talk to your manager because you've proven your value, and she knows or he knows that you're amazing. For Select Time, I usually can work up to, I want to say it's 80 hours if I choose to during the season. Now, remember, with my 5 kids, that's not happening. But there are plenty of retirees that are here, and this is all they do. So they are just, they're heavy loading the hours in for the season, and then they're off for the rest of the year. So I'm not kidding, this is the most flexible job. Yes, we will require, that you want to learn. We just want your passion. Honestly, that's really what it's about. So, learn as much as you can and bring it to the table, and keep your customers happy and serve them.
Thank you so much, Rachel. A couple of more questions that came in here. Let's see here. This one would be good for Tessa to answer. I applied for a bookkeeping position. I applied for a bookkeeping love position and have yet to be paired with the recruiter. I think that's supposed to say live. I'm sorry. How long does that step usually take? I have all my certifications and 3 years of experience, and this is from Michelle Smith.
Hi, Michelle. So typically that step can take anywhere from a week to a few weeks, depending on if it's, sort of like our peak hiring season. It could be depending on when you applied. It could be because we are a few months out from a start date that the process is just taking a little bit longer. But I saw your comment already and have written your name down, and I'm going to go look myself and figure out what the next step can be for you. So I'll figure that out and I'll let you know.
Michelle, you can also email hire@vertforce.us, and we will take your email address and give it to Tessa so she has another way to look you up and check on your status. Thank you, Tessa. Amanda, is this something I can do while stationed overseas? Let's get this clarified, and then I've got some follow-up info.
Unfortunately, no for QuickBooks Live. I'm not sure for TurboTax, but only if you're stateside are you able to do right now. Hopefully that will change in the future, but for now, no.
We're advocating. VertForce, we're constantly in Intuit's ear telling them, please Oconus. But the good news is Intuit is a large organization. They're highly regulated. But if you go take the training, the tax prep training or the QuickBooks training, whichever one you're interested in, they're pretty much standardized across the whole industry. Intuit is the leader. Everyone looks to Intuit for this is the way that we do things. So what you'll end up finding is smaller firms, mom and pop firms, solopreneurs, they have a way to allow you to work in that role for their organization overseas. So Intuit's training still can help you, and going this path still can help you. And then when you come back, you can come work for someone like Intuit and join a bigger organization if that's what you want to do. So the answer is no, but that's maybe not a bad thing for you. You should probably still look into the training, because I'm going to stop talking about this, but I preach this to our private chat. We have a private WhatsApp chat for VertForce. We have a Facebook group for VertForce. And I preach that, finance, tax prep, accounting, it's kind of the golden ticket for remote work. While at Intuit, you're not necessarily able to work outside of the United States. You can still have a career in this industry if you're credentialed and qualified and experienced. And you go Oconus. All right, let's get this one on for KM Benda. What is the minimum education requirement to get started at entry level? Let's address QuickBooks and TurboTax if you know the answer for TurboTax, Rachel.
Honestly, that I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything. I don't even know if you need a college degree. But I think Tessa and James may be able to answer that better than I can.
Okay. I think we might have James back on.
All
Hey,
right,
James.
I'm back.
Yay.
About that. So what was your question?
The minimum education requirement to start work in the TurboTax department.
I've never seen anything. I would presume a high school degree. A high school degree, and then you have the follow-on requisite education or certifications.
Yeah. Another reason I love Intuit.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a high school degree and become an enrolled agent. Now, I mean, if you want to be a CPA, obviously you have the schooling you have to take advantage of.
Okay, I'm getting fired up over here. Because what happens to us, right? Like, we marry into the military sometimes right out of high school. And some of us do not have the opportunity to go to college. We start building a family and we haven't done it. Some of us go straight out of high school into the military, and there becomes no time there to go to school. But an enrolled agent career is very attainable and very profitable for you. You can support your family on a career like that. So here is Intuit. I'm talking this big brain energy, y'all. Here is Intuit, ready to help you. All you need is 1 year of paid tax experience and that tax level 1 certification. And here is Intuit, like waving the flag saying, hey guys, arms wide open. We're over here. Come work with us. We're going to put you in a career. We're going to make you an enrolled agent. You're going to be set up. I'm excited. I'm hyped. And I'm turning my mic off so I don't keep talking about it. All right, that brings us to the end of our questions. I think Ashley, we already answered that question. Do you offer positions for military spouses overseas? So just to recap on that, these roles do not qualify for overseas because Intuit is a very highly regulated organization and a very highly regulated industry. However, I totally recommend going through the educational programs and steps, because there are independent agencies where you can work as a bookkeeper or as a tax associate while you are overseas. All right, that wraps everything up. We've answered all of the questions. We've spoken with Tessa. We've spoken with James. Let me ask my team, our production team in the background, do we have a form that we can drop to collect all of our live attendees into a form so we can email them out the links, all of the different links that we used during this episode? Can you drop that for me in the chat and on screen? I see her nodding yes. You guys can't see her, but I can see her. So a lot of you listening and watching tonight have asked, can you paste all of these links somewhere? Can you send me these links? So what we want you to do is go to this link. This is the only one we'll ask you to go to. Give us your information. And as soon as this is over, we're going to send you an email recapping what we talked about and then giving you all of the links that we shared tonight, because there were a lot. It was like Link City. All right. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I will catch you all on Thursday. So we are going to be back Thursday afternoon, but this time we're going to be in a private Zoom room. And you know what that means. In Zoom, you get to come on camera. You get to get face-to-face with our recruiters here. You get to ask any questions. We're going to go in depth into the hiring process and what it's like to apply at Intuit. And we're going to buy you a cup of coffee. The first 100 attendees get a free cup of Starbucks, and we can't wait to see you there over coffee. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you Thursday. Good night.